Forster Products makes high quality products for exacting shooters, and in this video we're going to look at the new bench rest powder measure and the stand, so stay tuned. Gavin G here from UltimateReloader.com. Like a lot of you, I've been waiting a while for my Forster bench rest powder measure. It's here and I've got the stand. I'm going to get these out of the boxes, then we're going to get it cleaned up, set up, configured, and do some precision testing with a few different powders. Let's go. So this is what I've got: the instruction sheet, the hopper, the cap. We've got the main assembly. We've got drop tubes for both large and small neck diameters, and then we've got the stand. I'm going to get all of the parts degreased, do some anti-static on it. We're going to get the stand set up, and then we're going to dispense some precision powder charges. So here's the powder measure out of the box, set up and mounted to my bench. You got a couple different options for mounting. You can clamp it directly to the edge of your bench. You can get the powder measure stand, which the powder measure clamps to. You can also screw the powder measure to your bench. This is a great setup because you can get things right under it. It's more at eye level. So I would recommend the stand if you're on the fence on that. And in terms of getting the powder measure ready to go, I always recommend thoroughly degreasing all of the internals. You never know if there's going to be some byproducts of the manufacturing process or some anti-corrosion oils. That's the last thing you want. You want dry internals, and you want surfaces that the powder is not going to stick to. So after I used acetone on the internals, I also used an anti-static dryer sheet to kind of go over things to make sure that there wasn't a residual of static buildup. The hopper is secured by a tiny little screw, so you'll need a precision flat blade screwdriver and just a tiny bit of torque there to secure the hopper. The hopper design is unique in that it has a very small orifice, and that means that the bottom of this hopper acts as a baffle. So that's going to help keep your charge weights consistent from when the measure is full to when the measure is empty. There's another little set screw here on the side, same side. And when you loosen that set screw, you can remove the drop funnel. I've got a 30 cal-ish drop funnel. There's also a 22-ish drop funnel. And so that is quick and easy to swap over as well. The only tool you're going to need is this precision flat blade screwdriver. Then you're going to want to take a look at your powder setting. There's two different ways that you can configure this powder bar, which has an internal orifice inside the arm. It's a very unique design. You can see here two holes. If you switch the screw to the inward hole, you're going to get more powder capacity. So with the outer hole, you're going to get about 2.5 grains of bullseye up to about 35 grains of a typical powder like Varget, something like that. And then with the larger orifice, you're going to get up to in the mid-90s of grains per charge. And if you want to charge more than that, you can meter this thing to dump half of your desired charge weight and then just do a double charge on it. You'll notice how slick this is, and you'll notice I also mentioned that you don't want anything sticking to the interior. The last step I did to get this powder measure configured was I took some dry neck lube, some Imperial dry neck lube, and I just put a tiny bit in the top, blew on it a little bit, worked it in, and then used compressed air to blow out the bulk of it. This provides just a little bit of lubrication, and it's a really good way to prevent granules of powder sticking to the internals. So that is kind of a basic walkthrough. This stand is cast aluminum. These parts are familiar looking. They're the Forster crinkle finish cast iron that you'd find on other products like the Coax reloading press. Again, top quality. It's got the roller handle. For the testing of the Forster bench rest powder measure, we're going to look at 3 different powders. We've got a ball powder, Accurate Mag Pro. We've got a medium burn rate stick powder, H4350, very popular in that Creedmoor class of cartridges. And then we've got your typical 300 Win Mag stick powder, H1000, also from Hodgdon. I thought this would be a good way to look at how different granule sizes and different granule lengths and dimensions are going to affect the performance of this powder measure. And before we get into individual consistency tests, let's do a quick capacity test. So I'm going to take H4350, which is kind of our medium profile powder in terms of the granules. We're going to fill this all the way, and it looks like, I think we're going to be pretty close to a pound there. Got my scale zeroed out here. Okay. This is not our precision scale, so this is somewhat of an approximate value. Lost a couple granules there, not too bad. Okay, 0.9 pounds. So I would say just shy of a pound. You could probably squeeze a pound in there. So what I want to do next is we're going to take these 3 different powders and we're going to run them through the measure to see how consistently it can meter each. Check out this setup. I've got the A&D EJ54D2. This is from Cambridge Environmental, hooked up. I've had it warming up for a while. We're going to let this settle in a little bit. If we lower the windscreen here and hit re-0, we should find that we're stabilizing. This scale is able to sense 0.003 of a grain. So this is a great scale to do things like scientific testing. It's got the USB interface. I've got my spreadsheet here open with the 3 different powders listed, and that means we're ready to collect some data. In preparation for this, I actuated the powder measure around 30 times. That was just to make sure that everything was up to steady state and we're going to get very consistent charges. Some people like to charge using the roller knob. You can also choke up on the handle and kind of rotate it. I found that to work better, especially when you need to cut a granule, when one gets right there in the metering area and needs to get chopped. That gives you a little bit more leverage. So we're on 0 here on our scale, where everything is up to speed and dialed in, and that means we're ready to weigh some charges. Very carefully set this on the scale, make sure we stabilize completely. We hit the print button, and that's going to send it over to our spreadsheet. I need to hit that one more time because I was not in focus. There we go, 65.265. The exciting thing about this is that we get our data in real time. .68. Same way every time, same motion. Very important to get consistent charges. 65.78. .64. So the magic numbers are, the standard deviation is 0.166 grains and the extreme spread was 0.515 grains. Now let's move on to MagPro. So I dumped the H4350, replaced that with MagPro, and did my actuations to make sure, again, we were up at steady state. Let's see how this test is going to go. Make sure we've got the appropriate cell selected in our spreadsheet. This is a more dense powder. We got 71.64, looks like. So our standard deviation for MagPro was 0.136, and we had an extreme spread of 0.44. Now on to H1000. And last but not least, we've got H1000. Okay, so again, we refilled, we ran things up to steady state, so let's grab some data. this is going to be lower. I think this is going to be lower than both because it's less dense. That's my guess. And it's true. Actually, it's pretty close to the H4350. That's interesting. Okay. And last one. 65.44, that's kind of right there in the middle. That is consistent performance across the board. This is really interesting. So the standard deviation on powder charge for the H4350 was 0.166, if I round up there on the third digit. For Mag Pro, it was 0.137, and for H1000 it is 0.162. So very consistent performance. That's very tight precision on the powder charge. Precision being repeatability, and accuracy, of course, being how close is it to the actual value that you're measuring. So this is awesome performance, and typically if you're going to be in something like a bench rest situation, you're going to trickle up to that last, even 2/100ths of a grain if you've got a lab scale like maybe the A&D FX 120i, something like that. And if you want the complete breakdown on this data that we just talked about, click on that first link in the article. So there you go, the Forster bench rest powder measure, tested hands-on and in-depth. To summarize, this is a US made product, it's a US designed product, it's made from US materials. It's got cast iron main body construction and a really unique combination of features. The small orifice integrated baffle hopper. Just about a pound of capacity with a more dense powder, something like Winchester Stayball 6.5. I'm pretty sure you'd get a full pound in there. The roller knob is nice. I love the vernier adjustment on the metering insert. It makes it very quick. It's got the low capacity setting and the high capacity setting that we saw with the two holes that you can put the adjustment screw into. It's got both drop tubes for approximately 22 caliber and approximately 30 caliber. It clamps onto the bench. As you can see, it's really easy to take it off, to dump the contents, and so on and so forth. The data speaks for itself. Less than 0.2 of a grain total variation in terms of the standard deviation for all three powders tested. Very good performance. I hope this video has been helpful to you, helps you decide if this is the right product for you. That's it for this tested story. That means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe with notifications, because you're not going to want to miss the content I've got coming up. Also, links down in the video description. I'm on Patreon and I've got Ultimate Reloader shirts at the Ultimate Reloader store. Any support that you show is most appreciated. Thank you again for watching. Until next time, happy shooting and happy reloading.